Vaheguru, 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 Vaheguru.
Can you tell me anything about Sikhs that you know?
Only that they're really peaceful, embrace love, you know,
Okay,
things like that.
no, that's nice. That's nice.
Yeah.
But anything deeper than
No,
that?
I'm so sorry, no.
Okay, can I give you give you 3 facts about Sikhism?
Okay.
Like the message, and then what the gurus might have done to kind of make that message come alive.
Oh,
Is that okay with you?
Yeah, of
So the message is very simple. We don't try to convert people, so there's no expectation of this.
okay,
Yeah.
no
So we
worries.
have no. It's just like we just.
I'm
spread it.
Catholic, my mother wouldn't approve.
That's fine. It's fine. We don't try to convert people. The message is very simple. That there's one creator
Yeah.
who made everything and is all around us.
Okay.
Yeah. And that everybody in the human race has that light of that one inside them. Yeah. And so we're all equal. And that the one doesn't care about religion. So he doesn't care like what religion we are.
Yeah.
He just cares about what we do.
Yeah.
Right. And the idea is that at the top of our head is a center that we can actually activate. We can connect to that one. So it's not like we're having belief for some being that we don't know about. We can actually experience this one and feel the love of that one. And the way to do that is to sing, to meditate, and live honestly and serve humanity. Very simple, right?
Yeah.
But the gurus, they try to spread this message. They came only in 1469, so it's quite young, like younger than America.
Yeah.
The first guru traveled to like Rome, Tibet, Mecca, Sri Lanka, everywhere spreading this message. Met all the leaders. He came back to Punjab because he's like, no one's really doing this. Let's set up our own community of people that follow this belief, and then they can go out there and kind of spread this message of oneness. The fifth guru actually made this amazing building you might have heard about, the Golden Temple.
Yeah.
Right, but the thing that most people don't know about the Golden Temple is it's got 4 doors. Right, the 4 entrances signify that anybody can go inside. Right? It's not like a temple for Sikhs. Like if you couldn't go to Mecca if you're not a Muslim, right?
No.
Yeah, but you can come here. Right, there's no expectation. Anybody's welcome there.
Yeah.
And he was persecuted by the Muslims, and he was actually killed by some fanatical Muslims. But we don't hold hate against Islam. His son, the 6th guru, actually built a mosque for some Muslims that didn't have a mosque. So he's like, I don't care. Exactly. Just show that everybody's equal, and there's only one God anyway. So who does it matter which way you pray, right?
Yeah.
But his son, this 9th guru, ends up giving his life to save Hinduism. So even though we don't believe in Hinduism, he's like, you know what? They were being converted by the Muslims, and they said, look, can you please help us? And he actually ended up getting beheaded in Delhi, in the center of India, to save Hinduism. So even to this day, the Hindus honor him as having, giving his life to save another religion, not his, but the freedom to practice a religion.
Okay, so Hindu is another religion.
So it's a different religion, but he gave his life to save them from
the message of
from persecution. And then what we believe in now is a scripture. So we follow this amazing scripture called the Guru Granth Sahib. It's the 11th Guru. We bow to it. We don't bow to any specific spot in the world. We don't bow to any people. We just bow to the scripture.
Yeah.
But inside that scripture are writings by not just the Gurus. The Gurus themselves compiled it. But what they did is they took writings from like Muslims and Hindus and people who were like on the same kind of level, spirituality, oneness, and they put that writings inside there. And the aim was that humanity realizes that actually there's no such thing as religion. There's only the truth. Right, but what's really cool about this Guru Granth Sahib Ji is that it's not divided by chapters, right? It's divided by music. So inside there's 31 different sections on different types of music. So you're meant to sing it, and it's all poetry. So what we do is we sing to God, right? As everybody should, right? As you see in the Catholic Church. But the idea is that the Gurus said, look, let's sing it in these classical musical measures. They're far more conducive to spirituality, and they encouraged us to become musicians. So they actually were musicians themselves, and they actually invented musical instruments. Like, because the piano is like doesn't really speak to the heart as much as a violin does, right? Yeah. So they made stringed instruments. They made sing stringed instruments, and one of the ways they try to get that equality to come into us, make it real, not just a philosophy, is that every temple has free food. And it's not just free food like giving out to everybody that's walking past. We all sit on the same level and we eat it. And anybody
men and women together as well.
Men and women together.
Separation.
There's total equality of men and women. See these pictures? It's men and women. We're all one, right? There's no discrimination. Women can be preachers. Women can be leaders. Women can be even fighters. We've had women who have been in the infantry at the front lines. Even the British Army doesn't allow it. I was in the army, so I know. Infantry, you can't be women, right? And the message is very simple. If we sit and eat together the same food, and it's served by volunteers and cooked by volunteers, then we can experience that oneness, rather than just talk about it.
Yeah. So what's today about? There's obviously...
So today is more about a political event. In 1984, the Indian government invaded that beautiful place that you've seen there, and they killed thousands of Sikhs. And it was designed to teach Sikhs a lesson, because the Sikhs had been fighting...
What was their reason for that?
basically Sikhs have been fighting against injustice in India, especially Indira Gandhi, who was the Prime Minister at that time. And she decided to teach us a lesson by actually subduing us. And one of the main things they did when they attacked on a day that was a big festival, and they trapped everybody inside, and they basically just came in with guns and stuff. 84. 29 years ago. Yes, I was only 5 years old at the time. Yeah, it was horrible. So
How many people died that day, roughly?
on those 4 days, probably about 8 to 10,000 people died. Yeah. And
So today's about, because I saw some posters yesterday about people still in prison, like political prisoners.
right,
Is
so
that what you're
since
campaigning for?
84, the Indian government's been suppressing the Sikhs who've been like trying to, obviously got very annoyed about what they did in 84, and there was like a kind of like a well, you call it a freedom rights, like a human rights movement, but they called it a separatist movement, because obviously to defame something you just call it something else than what it was, right? And they've got loads of Sikhs still now in prison and who have never been charged. So like they've been there for 29 years, yeah? No one's ever been charged.
This is what today is.
Yes, it's about raising awareness about what's going on about that. But actually, I think that the problem is that the Sikhs aren't very good at actually telling people who they are.
No.
So this is what we're doing, is kind of telling the message of who we are.
Yeah.
We recognise with the turbans, the orange is very like.
It's very distinctive.
Yeah,
right? No,
yeah,
but the
definitely.
thing is, I think, it's all right for people to say, most people say about Sikhs, oh, you wear turbans, you've got beards, you carry this sword, but no one knows like what is it that we believe.
What do they know?
Yeah,
No,
I mean, if I said to you, what do you know about Islam? You probably say, well, they believe in one God and there's a Prophet Muhammad, right? Or say Christianity, you said they believe in Jesus and they've got this.
Do you recognise? What do you think of Jesus? Do you recognise it, or do you think he
For
was
us,
just,
for us, Jesus is like a saint.
a set? Yeah.
Because remember, there's in these writings inside the Guru Granth Sahib Ji, there's loads of other saints' writings that are in there.
No, yeah.
So if Jesus is like, for example, the Lord's Prayer is a really
The story of
poignant.
Jesus is recognised within.
So no, we don't recognize it as like it's not written down.
Okay.
But the idea that Jesus was a saint, that he was one with God, we have no problem with, because people can become spiritually one with God. But we don't
He's
recognize
one of
him.
several people.
Right, we don't have the exclusivity, because in fact you could argue that when Christ said, I am the light, I am the way, and no one will get to God except through me, he didn't exactly mean him maybe, but he means the light and the way and the truth. So it's kind of arguable whether it's exclusivity or it's like this is the way. So if you follow this way, then you can get it, rather than follow him specifically, right?
So
So
when-
we're more about inclusivity.
So when you're teaching children of your faith about, what sort of morals are you teaching them? What's the big message about being, being forgiving and love and all the key Christian.
Exactly,
teachings?
forgiveness, compassion. For us, the main thing is that justice. The only way justice can ever come about in the world is if we have compassion for fellow human beings. So that's why serving people food is a really good way to build compassion, right? Because when you see somebody hungry, right, then you want to feed them. Yeah, so that's what we do in a Gurdwara. We make food. So even now, like if you go out there now, there'll be people giving out free food. Just
Where?
Just if you just go that way and turn left. Yeah. No, I mean the idea is compassion and equality.
So do you work with charities or anything like that? Do you have
Yeah, we have-
Catholics have CAFOD and things like
We
that?
have our own. We have a Casa Aid.
Okay.
It's doing projects at the moment in where that the big hurricane happened in Haiti. They're over there.
Oh, yeah.
They've been to Sudan. So we've got United Aid, Libya. So we do stuff like
go out,
humanitarian.
yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
So there's, for us, like wherever there's injustice, Sikhs have to step in. In fact, the 10th Guru, he gave us this form of the turban and the beard, but he also gave us a sword. So we all have to carry like a weapon at all times. It's called a kirpan.
I'm thinking of something else.
You probably maybe the Scottish one, the skin.
So are we going to be on? What's this about?
So we have a YouTube channel.
Oh, we have.
We just tell people about Sikhism. That's the next part. So we have this YouTube channel called Base of Sikhi, and we just tell people about Sikhism in English. And if you want to find out more, feel free to go and watch some videos.
Yeah,
we're not really, as I said, we're not trying to convert people, but anybody can become a Sikh. Like my
I was
wife
going to
is
say
white.
that. Yeah, I was going to say that. Can you be as a white woman?
Anybody can become a Sikh. It's not really like there's no special words you have to say to become a Sikh, because that's like more of a belief system. So if you believe in something, some people think you become part of the religion. We don't really think that believing in something makes you part of the religion. It's how you live, right? So if you live equality, if you live oneness and you meditate, then you're living as a Sikh. So it's, Sikhism is like a pant, it's a way.
It's a way.
It's as opposed to a belief system. So
because I struggle with my faith. I know it sounds very disrespectful to say it, but I am aware of people who talk the talk and who don't walk the walk, and I find it incredibly frustrating because they say all these things in church and then I witness their behaviour and it's complete opposite to what they said, but they don't recognise that, and I find that quite hard.
Well, it's hard to deal with the hypocrisy of the world. We call this this age we're going through right now as an age of darkness. Like no one's aware of the light of God inside them. Like most people don't tell you like God's inside you. They like say believe in God, right? But no one tells you that. If you sit down, take deep breaths and meditate upon God, you can actually connect to God. Like that message of connection is kind of gone.
That that's a skill, isn't it? Because I find quite hard to get into that state. I mean, that's something you have to work at. I don't think
Do you think it's more that we're not taught it from a young age?
Yeah,
like,
possibly. I mean,
like if we all got taught from a young age, like how to meditate, we probably would be like experts at it by the time we're 12, 13, right?
Yeah, but
But I mean, I think the problem is that society doesn't want you to become a non-consumerist person. Because if you meditate and like your happiness comes from inside you, you're not going to go and spend so much money, right?
I know,
you're not going to go out and spend all your money on like random stuff, right? You're not going to go to Harrods maybe to buy food.
I know.
I'm not cussing you guys, by the way. I'm just saying that we're against consumerism.
I am teaching my children. Whenever I was saying to you, like, whenever an advert comes on, they always go, "Boo! We don't want your stuff. We don't need your stuff. We don't." You know,
no, exactly. TV is all about selling you stuff. It's not really about you watching stuff. It's how to
about
keep you
who
hooked
you
to
are
watch adverts. But I mean, we think, oh, they're making programs for us, but actually, what they're doing is trying to make us buy stuff, right? And it's been proven, like even like kids, if you put them in front of hamburger ads and McDonald's ads, they, even though they're not hungry, they'll get hungry because the food idea makes them hungry. So actually we're overeating simply because we've been plugged this idea of overeating and wrong food. So so we're kind of more about waking yourself up inside. And actually one of the things that people don't realize is that humanity is one. Like even if you look at people, like it's a bit strange, but people tend to divide the world into religions, and what that makes is there's no such thing as religion. Like, you know, when you go in front of God, you don't have this card that says I'm this religion. He doesn't care about it. He's like, what did you do? And so your book is not judged upon like what you thought you believed. It's like, what did you do? Right? So religion itself is like a social construct.
My husband's a firm believer of that.
So
it's in terms of population, like I was once looking, I don't know why, it was a quiz I think about in terms of like the population and the percentage that is Sikhism and Catholicism and all the rest of it.
In the world,
you're quite.
We're the fifth biggest.
Fifth biggest.
We're just in terms of numbers higher than the Jews. So they'd be the sixth. But we don't really talk about our religion much. So
no, I know, but I was just wondering how many. Like, and
it's about 29 million probably.
29 million.
Yeah, it's pretty small in that sense. But I don't think we don't really care about numbers in that sense.
No, oh God, it's not like I'm not saying you need to be the best. I'm just interested because for me it sounds like the sort of thing there should be more people in your religion because it spreads a really great message, and I just think it's in a way you're not getting out there enough because
exactly. That's part of the YouTube channel we're doing, is actually trying to get out there and tell people what we believe in, because I do think there's loads of people that would follow Sikhism if they knew what it was, but they never heard of it, right?
No, and also they also think it's sort of like you know,
think you're Muslim, right?
Yeah.
No, I'm not saying it's just
well,
we have this persona outside.
Your, I can't remember the name because of the turban. I knew you were Sikh and not Muslim, but I think it's also that white people wouldn't think that they could be. I mean, I'm quite surprised.
My wife is actually a white. She's a Russian actually from background, but she became a Sikh, and so my little boy, he's not here right now, but he's half white. So but I think, I mean, if you look at the picture, there's a couple of these guys here. They're all white. There's some good ladies there who are black, who are Sikh.
Which is great. I mean, that is about the message of everyone's equal.
The thing is that actually, male or female, whatever color origin you are, the light inside doesn't change. So like we believe in reincarnation, so you could have been a brown person in your previous life, you could have been a male in your previous life, who knows, right? The fact is that the society makes you think that you're limited depending on your background, your race, you have to stick to this. But the philosophy is very simple. It's like, there's just one God. Now meditate and find him, or her. We don't really think it's like a gender either. God doesn't have a gender, by the way.
No.
Yeah, people think he's like male, but actually God. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, well, it's funny. He looks a bit like me. No, but we don't believe in that. We believe that actually, it's like more like an energy source. Like it's more like energy. Like electricity. Yeah, it can power different machines, but they're all powered off the one thing, right? So some people are more like, okay, I want to go and do social work. Yeah. Other people are more like, I just want to meditate. But they're all connected to the same power source. Yeah. And so you can't see electricity. It's in the wires, but you can't see it. But you can feel it.
So when you what about the afterlife? What's your view on that? So when you die, what happens?
So
just check that. Sorry, we have a coach.
Yeah, we better walk quick.
So what we think is that if you have connected to the one, as you connect, you purify, because God is pure. So as you connect to God, you get purified. So that means that your soul has less sins upon it. But sins are not like sins are more like dirt upon your soul. And if the mirror gets clean, you see God back, because the light is God, right? So it's just about purifying that mirror. So if you don't do it enough in this life, you have to come back again. But if you do it enough in this life, then you go into eternal spirit world. So basically, you're a spirit in the presence of God, and it's a great place to be.
But if not, you're reincarnated to try again.
Right, but you can't always come back as a human being.
Oh, so you could.
So we believe, So we're all animals have the same light of God inside them as well. So we don't really believe that human beings are like special. I mean, we are special because we can connect to God, but at the same time, all animals have the same light inside them. So we do believe that animal cruelty is actually, it's just cruelty upon other beings that have the right to live.
Are you vegetarian then?
Most Sikhs are vegetarians. I mean, we have some people that do eat meat, but it's never killed in the halal way. Which is like by sacrificing and bleeding it to death kind of thing. So we believe in, the 7th Guru, he set up a center for injured animals. He's really into his kind of like herbal medicine and animals. So every Guru had like a different facet to teach people. He was more about, nature and stuff. So we believe that...
So do the Gurus keep continuing?
No, the 11th Guru is scripture. So from 1708, we've stuck to scripture.
Yeah, we stuck to scripture.
But we do believe that the people that follow this way, they're like the manifestation of our Guru. So how do we find our Guru now? We find him in what he wrote, because they wrote it and they compiled it themselves. But also, we find him in the people that lived that. Yeah, because it's like energy, right? Sometimes you see energy in the mains, and sometimes you have energy in batteries. Yeah. Like they're portable. Yeah. So it's like that.
And how often do you worship? Well, meditate.
We should meditate first thing in the morning, about an hour, and then we should be meditating in the evening, like in the last time, and then at night time. So it's 3 times a day.
So you wake up in the night, you wake yourself.
Yeah, you wake up and meditate and pray. The prayers are written by our gurus. They're more like songs, really. So you're singing these songs written by them, and they kind of. They get you thinking to think in that way, because it's very hard to change your thinking, right? If you keep repeating them enough, you can change your thinking. But the main thing that we do is we say God's name. So you know how Jesus said, like, our Father who art in heaven, our Father, not just his Father, our Father, who art in heaven, blessed be thy name. What does that mean? Blessed be thy name. For us, the name is the way of meditating. So we actually just call God. So we say, if you look at the first picture, we say Vaheguru. That's the name we've given for God. That doesn't mean that God only has one name, but we just say that again and again. We chant it. So we just say Vaheguru, Vaheguru, Vaheguru. And we just say it again and again, and then we try to connect to God through that word, the name. And then hopefully you can start to feel the bliss of God, the spirit of God you might call. And it's really a blissful experience. And it's really kind of, sometimes you get very tearful because you feel that connection to the one. And it's just about meditating. And as you do that more and more, you get purified. It's like hard to say like what purification means, but it's like God is pure. So the more you get connected to God, the more you get godly. But all the more so the things that we're trying to fight in the real world are these 5 things, lust, anger, greed, pride, and attachment. Those are our 5 vices. So our aim in life is to kind of stay away from those things, and then embrace stuff like truth, compassion, justice, equality. There's a few more. But you get the idea. Service, service to others. So helping people selflessly is a big part. So,
well, that's a fantastic message.
It's really nice talking to you guys.
And so thank you so much.
There's one for you as well.
Thank you.
It's great to learn about it all. We'll take it with us.
Thanks for your time. Okay, bye-bye.